Well. If time has proven one thing in my ears is that almost every sort of conspiracy thought that you might have had can be proven with time, because at a certain point a conspiracy or a thought or some pseudo loony mind fart that you might have had can actually turn true. And this one, ladies and gents, is a very big one, because it concerns our very freedom of speech online on the internet, where we're supposed to be free to express ourselves without the fear of censorship, because that's what the internet is supposed to be. And now we have proof that that has not been happening, especially on the biggest platform that you're watching on it right now. Greetings, ladies and gents, my name is Hills of the Bearded Balkan Blabbermouth, and I am discussing, and today we're going to be checking out something that is a bit of a bombshell that has happened. It is not, sadly, gaming related, although you can kinda tie it to gaming, because on this channel we have talked primarily about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom to have your own games and to be able to like and buy whatever you want and to own what you like. In an essence, about freedom itself. And although this does not concern directly someone like me, it concerns a very large portion of content creators and with certain mindsets that a political party, as it would seem, would not deem proper, and it would not deem fit to survive and express its views. We're talking about YouTube, ladies and gents, and how apparently the previous administration of politics in the US has actively censored creators who talk outside of the narrative that was exposed in the last few years. This is from That Park Place, and they are reporting on a post by Representative Jim Jordan, and we'll get to that post in just a minute. What they're saying is the following. Breaking. Google admits Biden administration pressured YouTube to censor Americans, vows to restore banned creators and end unfair censorship. Right off the bat, it would seem that YouTube, a platform which openly goes on to X and other platforms to say your creativity can be unlimited and stuff like that, that every video you make is another creative spark or stuff like that, I'm paraphrasing right now, has been actively censoring and being pressured nonetheless to censor certain channels. Now, I've always said, no matter what your political opinions are, what your views are, you should be able to express them, and you should be able to defend them, and you should be called out to defend them from someone who doesn't agree with them. That's the basis of a debate, and that's the basis of reaffirming your beliefs, your opinions, your affiliations. That's the great debate that the human race usually prouds itself, because we are a higher form of mammal. We are thinking, conscious beings that should be able to discuss these things openly. And whether or not I agree with you, or you agree with me, or we both disagree with each other, we should be able to discuss it openly without being censored, especially when we're talking about important stuff that relate to the whole of humanity or to the current events or something that affects our lives directly. However, it would seem that some administrations don't think that, and this is very reminiscent of pre-1990s Eastern Europe, and if you know the history of that, then you know what I'm talking about. The article starts, in a stunning revelation, a political censorship, Google has revealed that the Biden administration pressured the company to remove YouTube content creators who had not violated the platform's terms of service. This is very important, the platform's terms of service. Nowhere in the platform it says that you cannot express your views. It says a lot about offensive language, about unwelcome language, about profanity, nudity, stuff like that, yes. But expressing your viewpoints, as YouTube is a platform of creatively doing that in all the ways possible, through music, through gaming, through just debates, through news like we're doing now. It is a free space, supposedly. but apparently not. On September 23rd, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan released newly disclosed files from Alphabet Inc., Google's parent company and owner of YouTube. The documents submitted by Alphabet attorneys at King's Spalding made one thing absolutely clear. The Biden administration pressured YouTube to silence Americans who had not violated the platform's rules. And we have this post from Representative Jim Jordan on X, who says, breaking due to oversight efforts, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violation to return to the platform. But that is not all, and this is a threat. He has posted several images from King's Spalding. I'm not going to go through all of that because it's a very, very long language, but it is there. It is in writing, black and white. It exists. We go to YouTube's stunning admissions from Alphabet. This is a 27-page letter addressed to Chairman Jordan, contains bombshell admissions including Biden admin pressures. Senior official, including the White House, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to YouTube urging takedowns of lawful speech about COVID-19 and elections. So basically what that means, at least the way I see it, is that if you spoke the wrong information about COVID-19, which means you have expressed doubt in the vaccines, in the severity of the disease itself, or if you had any conspiracy theory, you were removed, you were silenced, you were not there, and you weren't just suppressed by the algorithm. No, your channel was gone. No matter if you had small amounts of subscribers, if you had a large channel. No, if you talked against that narrative as per that admission, you were in danger of being totally and completely disintegrated from YouTube as a whole, no matter if that is your livelihood. Banned creators returning. YouTube will allow creators previously removed from COVID-19 or election-related content to rejoin the platform if the content didn't break any existing rules. Many of these bans, the letter confirms, came under direct government pressure. Imagine that. Imagine that direct government pressure. So you have the government of the United States going to Google and says you will ban him and him and him because they're speaking against the narrative that we're doing against the COVID, and they're sowing disinformation, or they're sowing information that we do not want it to be out there, and it is something that we do not like. And so ban them. This is our directive and you will listen. Probably, in my opinion, under some form of pressure or threats. That is just my opinion. Unacceptable and wrong. Alphabet calls those government attempts to dictate moderation policy improper, noting that it fought them on First Amendment grounds. Rollback of censorship. YouTube admits it began loosening restrictions in 2024 directly after the Judiciary Committee began its oversight investigation. Yeah, you're doing that because you know that you're gonna get caught and you're trying to cover your tracks, in my opinion. No outsourcing moderation. The company pledges it will never empower third-party fact-checkers, in quote marks, to label or remove content. Assisting moderation remains its responsibility. And according to own European laws, Alphabet also cautioned that the EU's Digital Services Act could impose censorship on American companies, threatening free speech worldwide. We have seen that attempt with the UK with their Online Act and trying to actually influence American companies with that as well. But this is something really big. I think that when you have some document like that being presented to a representative, that means that there's a lot of YouTube channels that are gonna come back. I don't know in what form. I don't know if their old channels will be reinstated or they will just be able to return and reinstate their channels in their own name. That remains to be seen. However, the thing is that it is an admission. It is an absolute admission that the government administration of a country such as the United States has directly influenced freedom of speech, something that that country is boasting about all the time. This is the country of free speech, the country of the free, the freedom nation, stuff like that. Yet it imposes such restrictions. And we move on to the bigger picture. What makes this scandal explosive is the contrast. Progressive outrage has focused on whether comedians like Jimmy Kimmel are being silenced, despite the fact Kimmel will be back on ABC with no restrictions on his monologues. This is new information from yesterday. Meanwhile, the Biden White House was actively demanding that YouTube censor average Americans, independent journalists, and political commentators. in the new media for speech that violated no platform rules. And there we have it. This is a violation of your freedom to express yourself in a free democratic country, in a place where you should be able to do that, as in every Western country. And that is just an abhorrent thing to have been reviewed. I don't know if there's going to be any legal consequences, if people are going to get sued, or if there's going to be lawsuits for lost time and lost income, because I would gather that a lot of these channels had YouTube as their source of income, and while many maybe moved to Rumble and stuff like that, I would much doubt that they would be so successful on a much smaller platform. We don't know what's going to happen, but this is absolutely huge. And as I said, this is not gaming related directly, but this is freedom direct. And I know it consumes primarily American channels, but it's again something absolutely of a bombshell. And these things continue to happen, and they will continue to happen. I'm sure that we're going to get more and more revelations like this by the end, until the end of the year, and I'm sure that there are going to be even bigger bombshells. That's just my opinion, but the way it's going, we're a lot of stuff that have happened on YouTube and on other platforms, because we have to admit, when COVID happened, a lot of these things that people were saying were very censored. There was a lot of targeted information and misinformation, and a lot of people simply didn't have a job after speaking or doing stuff that they were not supposed to. That was global. And now it will seem that a consequence of that is happening, and I hope that the people responsible for that are held accountable, because by their action, other people and other companies for different reasons have been probably empowered to do their own censorship. And that is just a avalanche that was probably happening in different areas. So I think that consequences should come. I think they should be researched thoroughly right until the very end, and whatever needs to happen should happen, and it should be an example of why you shouldn't fuck with people's freedom of speech. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, leave a comment, leave a like, and if you enjoy my content as a whole and you want to see more, press the subscribe button. And if you want to help homeless animals and animals in shelters and help grow the channel, click the join button and become a member of the channel. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Hiazo. This was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers and stay fresh.